You're listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV network. Now the largest new media platform on the web and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Gene Johnson.
The AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California. Presented by Maria Menounos and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies. This is AFTERBUZZ TV's Vanderpump Rules After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AFTERBUZZ TV's Vanderpump Rules After Show.
You're just like...
We're gonna do something with your Vanderpump body. All right, tying it back in the show. Thank you for joining us for the Vanderpump Rules AFTERBUZZ TV After Show. This is Season 2, Episode 2, Branded. And I'm thinking the branded, does that mean the tattoo branded?
Yeah.
I was like, I just got that now. So I sound like Jax, like getting things late in the game. All right, I'm your host, Jake Dupree, along with my lovely co-host. Go right ahead to my right.
Hi, everyone. I'm Kristina Zias.
Across the table.
Sabrina Walker.
And it's Michelle Renee.
Hi, guys. Hi.
Hi.
All right, so let's get started with this episode. And I'm going to just preface this before. We were not a fan of this episode, so we're going to be a little honest. And you can give us a little comment if you want to about it. So let's go. All right, so we see Stassia going to lunch with Kristina Kelly, and they make fun of Sheena's birthday dress. I mean, if you were with your friends, would you make fun of Sheena's birthday dress? Be honest.
Yes.
Yes, why?
Well, I wouldn't make... It's like she looked cute in it. It's not something I would wear.
Yeah.
But it's just like funny how they talk about it because after the birthday party, you obviously talk about what goes on.
Clearly.
So...
I thought it was an appropriate birthday dress.
It was.
Like
for
it's
her,
Because
too.
it's fun.
Yeah,
over
it's
the top,
fun.
like-
It's sparkly. Like besides New Year's, your birthday is the only time when you can get away with wearing like a whole dress or like even a whole bodice made of rhinestones or sequins or whatever. So I thought it was appropriate. I didn't hate the dress. I thought
feel
she
like
looked cute.
Birthdays and New Year's for girls is like a time for them to look almost like a drag queen. Like you can go there, like you can go over the top if you want to. Not that saying over the top is like a drag queen, but you can go like sequins and sparkles and shimmery and shiny, you know?
Yeah.
Like even more.
And that's Sheena. Like, that is her personality.
Yeah.
I don't think Stassi would ever wear a dress like that, but I think it was great for Sheena.
Yeah.
It was over the top, but I mean, that wouldn't be my first thing to think about or talk about when I sat down for lunch. I would be like, oh yeah, her tutu. But I guess it is kind of funny.
Yeah, they're being kind of like bitchy a little bit, you
Yeah,
know?
a little bit.
And what did you, like, then of course they bring up that Jax and Stassi have been hooking up like 3 times in a year, just 3 times in a year. And it's like, we get, we see this later on with the episode, but it just makes me like, if you don't like him and you don't want to be with him, like, why would you have sex with him?
We don't know much about Kristina Kelly, but I really like her, and I like the fact that she's like, dude, he's a loser. Like, why are you still sleeping with him? Who cares if it's 3 times? Like, it should never have happened. He cheated on you. Like, you're the fool who keeps going back. Like, you're telling me that girl can't bang anyone else in Los Angeles. She has to go back to Jax.
Exactly. Like, why? Do you think it's just like a pattern, like a comfort thing? Like, she doesn't
Yeah.
want to go out and
Yeah,
try?
I think she
Absolutely.
loves the attention, too. And it's just so easy, I guess.
She complains about the text messages, but she loves it. She's like, oh yeah, he texts me like 1,000 times a day saying I love you. It's like, you love that. Don't lie about it.
She does, but I think she says that in all of her interviews, too, that she's like, he's always obsessed with me, but I kind of like it, whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't hate that she still hooks up with him. People do it all the time. Even like married, not saying that's right, but even married couples that are like going through divorces, they still hook up just for the physical attraction. And in her case, I don't think she's stupid for going back to him because it's not like she's not getting something out of the deal. It's not like she's going and like giving him a BJ or something and she's not getting anything in return. It's like a mutual thing. So she needs her needs met and he happens to get his met at the same time, then I think it's a symbiotic
It
relationship.
seems like what she's getting what she wants. She's being thrown around, and she loves to be thrown around. I was like, I bet Stassi does like to be thrown around because she's like
Definitely.
such a bitch. It's like she likes to be like
Dominate a
smacked
little
around
bit.
a little bit. Yeah, tell me what to do. I like that.
Yeah, definitely.
I can
Rough-
see it.
rough
Do what
me
you
up a
want with
little
my
bit, yeah.
body, taking it back to the song at the beginning of the show. I'm a really great host. I'm like Stassi right now. And then we see Kristina. Kristina is Team Frank clearly, and Stassi says that she's missing him. I didn't realize. I mean, whenever we had her in the studio last year, she was like, they obviously had like a really good connection. On this show, it doesn't seem like it because it seemed like a short period of time that they were together. But I mean, like, she's thinking about flying to DC to see him. I was like, what? Where did this come from? Like, it's just like, she seems like a pattern girl because there's like different types of people. And you know, like, you either go back to someone or you move on. And she seems to like kind of keep her love interest close. Well, and doesn't let them go.
It's funny because last season when she was on, she said that she felt really bad for Frank in the way he was portrayed because he actually is a really great guy. But I had no idea he was like even still in play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you guys?
No.
I really thought it was just like a little fling and she was over it, to be completely honest. But I was surprised to see her saying that she would go to DC.
Like out went Laura Lee, out went Frank, right? Like, isn't that what happened?
Yeah, is she gonna somehow come up back on the show?
Oh my God.
Laura Lee has been making moves
She
in the,
has.
and I've seen her on multiple things, movies, television shows, and I'm like,
We should try to get her
go,
on
girl.
here. That'd be awesome.
that would be. But I
be
have
awesome.
something. Okay, number one about Stassi going to see Frank. I mean, I'm all for it. But if she does go, he needs to pay for it. That's all I have to say about that. And number two, maybe, just maybe, she's thinking about the fact that she's getting a little bit older and Frank seems to be a little bit more stable. He's in D.C., presumably making a career for himself instead of just having a job as in like a restaurant or bar or whatever. So maybe she's thinking in terms of her long-term, relationship status.
I mean, you never know. It's strange to me because it seems like she's in the same place that Jax is with her. Like, he wants to pursue her, but she's like, I don't want to see you. And then Stassi is pursuing Frank, and he's not even returning her calls, emails, Facebook messages.
He's not? Wait, did I miss that?
And then his
That's what she
friend,
said.
his best friend, got in touch with her and said, you should surprise him.
Oh, so that's why. Okay.
Exactly,
Oh, I
yeah.
thought that, for some reason, I guess I was blacked out on that part, but I thought that he had like mentioned to her like, "Hey, I want to see you come to DC."
So I'm
like,
thinking, I'm thinking that might be a draw for Stassi too, because she's like, this guy is not responding to me like the way that Jax is, so it makes her want him more.
Definitely.
We're getting.
I mean, can you blame Frank because she kind of played him last
she did.
season?
He
So
looked like
I
a
mean,
fool.
yeah. So no, that's
He looked like an idiot.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we move on, and we see Lisa and Ken go to Sir and check out the new bar, and Lisa is still looking for the perfect person to be the bartender for that bar. Little do we know that Tom Schwartz, excuse me, is wanting to apply to be the job, waiting for that job. And then he goes and meets with Lisa, and he's like, this is my favorite. I just love him in general. I think that I wish they would show him more. I think he's just like the most genuine person on the show.
He's so cute and so sweet.
So likable. Like,
Yeah.
Everything that comes out of his mouth, I'm like, don't stop talking.
Yeah. Cute smile. He's just cute. Like, I love him. And we'll have him on the show in a few weeks. But,
and it was kind of heartwarming that the reason why he's trying to get another job is so he can afford a ring, I guess, to propose.
Yeah.
to
Well, that's
Katie.
what Katie said. In no
He
part
didn't
did he say
say
that.
that.
oh my God, that's right. Yeah.
She was like, he wants a stable job so he can feel comfortable proposing to me. I would love to be in that room to see him watch it back. He's probably like, oh, this is awkward.
I know they live together. So it's like, they're on the path probably to that.
Yeah.
But are they either
But
one of them
that's so
stable
funny to
enough?
hear.
See, I'm really weird about like the whole engagement thing. Like, I feel like you should be in a more stable place, not working at like a restaurant. I'm sorry. That's really mean. I don't know, but I feel like you should have like a stable footing. I mean,
Well, I mean,
don't know.
I just I don't think there's anything wrong with working in a restaurant. I don't
No,
think
I'm not
I don't
saying
think,
that,
Yeah,
but, like-
I know that's not
like
what
a
you're saying, but-
part-time job.
Yeah,
Like,
I just
have
think it's that
something
like
substantial.
working in a restaurant for them is not their career. Like some people work in restaurants and that's what they choose to do. They like manage the restaurant or they, are servers or whatever, and that's what they're gonna do for the rest of their lives. But for them, they all have different like ambitions and things
Yeah.
that they want as careers. So I would agree with you in saying that they should wait until they're in those careers and more stable with what they're gonna do long term
So
instead of.
I've heard that Katie wants to do hair now.
Oh, really? She was
Yeah.
going to do
She was
music
inspired by
scoring?
her own hair.
Yeah, inspired by her own hair.
Yeah.
And she does Sheena's hair.
Really? I was super stoked about her.
Music.
Yeah.
Because that's such an interesting career path, I think.
And she seemed so passionate about it. Whenever she was here, she was like, oh, let's do this song for her intro. Oh, that bummed me out. But okay,
Yeah.
good for her, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, you got to find your passion. But it's like, I don't know. I just want them to be smart about their decision. And because I know money is such a huge issue for people, and I just don't want them to suffer through that. Because I think they're my favorite couple on the show outside of Sheena and Shay.
Shay.
Yeah, I feel like that they're the most.
Outside of Lisa and Ken.
They're like the most dedicated to each other, you know? And then, of course, we see Sheena and Pandora go to Lisa's house, and it looks as if Sheena kind of ruins Tom's chances at a job at Sarah because she tattles. It looks like she tattles. I feel like there was more to that conversation than was shown.
Definitely. And I don't think that she would intentionally
No, because I think she
take
likes
shorts
him,
out.
too.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And it's like Sheena has a broken foot, and Lisa makes another dig at...
She has a sprained ankle.
Oh, yeah, not a broken foot, a sprained ankle. And it was like a hematoma. And then Lisa was like, "It's a hematoma. It's a bruise." Like, what are you talking about? Do you think that Sheena likes to play the victim? Because we see next week that Lisa literally calls her out and says, "You like to play the victim." Do you think so?
I don't know.
Silence, y'all. Silence.
I don't think she thinks that she's playing the victim.
Yeah.
So does she like to play it? Not really.
I'm asking you. I'm just like.
I don't think
wondering.
so.
I mean, I just think that things happen to people naturally, and it's not about what happens to you necessarily, but it's how you react to it. So when we see things like her complaining about the tooth, even though that was editing, we've later found out, and we didn't get the whole story. When we see her complaining about things like the tooth, when we see her on crutches because of a bruised ankle, when we see her with her foot propped up at work, the way it's all put together, be it editing or whatever, it makes her look like she's a hypochondriac.
Yeah.
And it makes her look like she's thriving off of this attention she's getting from being hurt. And it's like, that makes her look weak, if anything. Sorry, I love Sheena, but
yeah,
that's what it looks like from us, but it might be just editing.
From pure watching the show, I think that a lot of fans, because we saw on Monday night, last night, she kind of went off on Twitter, like, about saying that wasn't all that the story was, and like there was more to it and stuff. So
I just want to see the next episode with the glasses.
Yeah,
I just want to know what she's gonna say. Like,
definitely,
like what's happening with that too. So I mean, maybe Lisa has a point. I don't know. We'll see next week, I guess. But then we find out that Sheena's going to be working for the Divine Addiction. And I love that they were like, "You're not going to be working at Sarah, but you're going to be working for the Divine Addiction." And then we find out that Stassi's not even paid for the Divine Addiction. So it's not even like a
job.
It's more like an internship. Yeah,
totally.
Yeah, that's kind of shitty. Like to devote a lot of your time to that, and that's like what whole Stassi's like whole MO is, to be like a fashion blogger, right? And then she's not even.
No,
paid.
remember, she doesn't blog.
She
Oh,
said
yeah,
she
she's a
wants a
writer.
career in fashion.
She's a columnist.
Yeah.
Yes.
I thought she wanted to be a designer, ultimately. Is that not her or stylist?
Who knows?
Yeah.
We'll have to find out, I guess, when
Can't
she
keep
comes
track.
back on. Moving on. We see Stassia and Jax working, and he wants to take her on a dinner, and she's like, "Oh, you'll have to pay, blah, 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 blah." It's like the same drama with them. I'm so over it. I'm glad that this episode ends with them, like, separating, because I just, like, want them to be...
And then we see in the previews of next week that they're, like,
They're
making out.
kissing, yeah.
And
So.
we'll talk about that, because I have a lot to say about that, because that's some shady shit. Okay. So moving on to Tom and Kristen's apartment. This scene was so contrived to the T. I was like, you are not going to try to tie in this table with him like
Cheating
trying
on
to
me.
make up for cheating on her. Like, this is the stupidest storyline that I've ever seen on this show.
I just feel like
Dumb.
everything she says, she ties back to him cheating. It's like, is there anything else going on?
Child, let it go.
Right?
I mean, either let it go or
let
move
him
on.
go.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Make a decision.
It's pathetic to me. Like, it looks really pathetic. And they're going to be on the show next week, so we'll be able to that they're pathetic in person. That'll be interesting. Shit.
Shout out to Kristen.
Bye. Sorry. But I don't know. It's just like, and we see them coming back, and then they put together to the table, and I'm just like, this. I'm like, did y'all not have any other scene on the cutting room floor that they could have put in this place? Like, are they just trying to have a scene with the two of them together? Like,
Yes.
I don't understand it. Are they, like, required a certain amount of airtime, an episode?
I mean, last season it was annoying when it was the Jackson Stassi's show, but
mean,
I
this
will
episode
say
was
that
bad.
I will say that at least it was good content and there was more there. This season is turning to the Tom and Kristen show, but there's nothing there. The content is like there was this cheating thing that happened.
It's like
and
pulling it. It's
yeah,
like
They
really
talk in
pulling it.
circles. It's the same thing over and over and
Yeah.
over.
So if they want to make that the focal point of this season, then they need to do some more. He needs to cheat on her again. He needs to, or something. I mean, he needs to have somebody get pregnant or think she's pregnant. It just needs to be more to the story than just he cheated and I forgave him and we still live together.
Exactly.
But I give him shit for it every single day.
Yeah.
That, you know, their home cannot. I wonder what their home life is like now. I'm excited to ask them that. And what's it like watching it back?
Do you think she just does this for the cameras?
I mean, it gives her a storyline.
They just look so miserable.
She does what? She doesn't really do anything
the complaining
for the
and stuff. You think that she does, you know? Do you think that she forgave him in real life and still lives with him and moved on, but when the show started filming again, it was every other sentence out of her mouth is, but you cheated on me?
I think so, probably. I mean, I think she probably does give him a hard time about it, but I think for sure she had to amp it up a little bit for the cameras, and it probably brought back whatever emotions there were too, and probably pissed her off again.
Yeah, because they're like, you know, prodded by producers. Like those interviews they have to give. I mean, there's a question that's asked. They don't just bring this stuff up. So it's like, you know, and that brings up stuff too, like things that, and also it's a stranger, so she can probably be not a stranger, but like they know, you know, it's not somebody that they're best friends with, the producer, and I feel like they're almost like a therapist. Like they can say these things, not necessarily thinking about the implications of it because they don't know what's going to make the show, and then it gets out and it just is this whole hotbed of things.
And they don't know what like context it's going to be in. So.
Yeah, and I think that's with the Sheena conversation from Lisa's house. I think that conversation was probably taken out of context.
Yeah, I wonder why she was there.
Yeah,
because I mean, Lisa lives in Beverly Hills, or I mean, how far is that away from West Hollywood? I mean, it's just like for her to make the trip like on a broken foot just to go to Lisa's house to tell her that. Like, I would like to know why she was originally at Lisa's house. Was she hanging out with Pandora, or were they having a tea, or what?
I think she was hanging out with Pandora, and I feel like she probably wants to get as close to Lisa as possible, and she probably already is, you know?
Yeah.
Don't you think she loves hanging out with Lisa?
Yeah.
Who wouldn't want to?
Yeah, I mean, and that's a good asset. That's a good person to have on your side.
Definitely.
But I mean, again, it goes back to the whole hypochondriac thing. If your foot is messed up, and don't you need to be propping your foot up somewhere? You're not going to hobble over to your friend's house just to like shoot the breeze. Yeah. So I wonder why she was there.
I kind of think she loves the sympathy a little bit. So maybe she wants to shoot the breeze, get some sympathy from Lisa, and stir things up at her a little bit.
Yeah. So we
You know
talked
who
about.
won't be stirring on Tom at the bar.
Bloop, bloop. So we see Pandora sit down with Stassi to tell her about the divine addiction, and Stassi literally had one of the best lines of the episode. She was like, "Ashina's an ass sucker. She's sucking your ass." I was like, what does that even mean? Like, is she giving your ass a hickey? Like, I don't know what's up with that.
Okay,
And I'm down with that. Like, what? Like, let's go. But
He's just sucking Pandora's ass.
yeah.
This scene pissed me off a little bit. And I think in part of it, it's because I don't understand why Sheena's getting blamed for this when it was clearly Pandora's idea. And I went looking at the divine addiction, and there's been like 6 articles that Stassi has written this year. 6. The last one has been since
Out of
May.
this year?
Yes. No, not even this year. Wait, I started writing it down. It was May 29th, and the most recent one, it was January 18th, February 27th, May 29th. That's like 3 since January.
And they were filming this summer.
You know what I mean? So obviously she's not working that hard at it. And it's funny because she obviously thinks that like Shayna is a cartoon character, but at least she has some like identification. I don't understand why people are necessarily taking fashion advice from Stassi. What does she bring to the table? At least if you want to look like a drag queen, as Stassi says, you can go look at this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
How many articles did Sheena have on the site, or did you?
I didn't see any.
I heard around the grapevine that Sheena backed out of it.
Yeah,
she
I
was
didn't
like,
see
I don't
any.
want to I don't want to cause like tension. Which I was like, don't give up an opportunity for yourself to like better yourself just because someone is mad
Like,
about
how is
it.
that even causing tension? Like, you guys write about 2 different topics.
Completely.
One's beauty, one's fashion. I mean, I feel like there's plenty of room. Clearly, they need more content.
Yeah, she's writing like 3 times a year.
And Sheena made a good point. There's a whole staff of columnists. Like, why is she just going after Sheena?
And also, like, if she wants to have better relationships with the people who employ her, maybe she should have a little bit more respect and like get off their case, you know?
Yeah. That's what I thought was ironic, that she goes in and she's like, this is my job. This is my boss. Sheena is bad mouthing me to my boss. I take this very seriously. And by the end of it, she's cussed this girl out. Like,
and stormed off.
yeah, like that's not really a healthy relationship between a boss and a employee.
Totally Sheena's fault.
Yeah, I mean, even if Pandora is her age and Pandora's her friends, I'm sure that it's hard to negotiate that relationship with a work situation too. But dang.
Yeah. And I thought Stassi would take this. It seems like she would take this job really seriously, because it seems like she would be able to use this to her advantage getting further in a career.
Correct.
But she's like not even writing, and the last one was May. Like, what are you doing? Like, if this is something that you really want, this show will not last forever. Like, you have to decide on a path and how that's going to get you further. And I will say that Sheena, I think, is the only one that's taken herself outside of the show and trying to progress herself in a way that's beyond the show. And I thought Stassi, she's the most memorable character on the show.
Definitely.
Clearly, like, the show is about her. Why is she not amping up publicity and PR and, like, trying to move it forward? Like, do you think it's maybe her personality that she's a bitch and, like, people can't relate to that? But then we've seen people on Real Housewives that are bitches and they get really far. So I think this is the perfect opportunity for her to move forward with something, but she's not doing a good job of that. I feel like
Maybe
she's
it's
like,
her management team or something that's not telling her you need to utilize this as a platform.
I feel like part of her thinks she's also going to be like the next biggest reality star queen, and it's just like waiting for that to happen.
But I will say that the ratings for this show were not good last week.
Oh, really?
Last year they were averaging like 1.8, 1.9. This is 1.1.
Ooh.
Huge hit.
That's bad.
And that's bad for Bravo on a Monday night coming off of Beverly Hills. Like, that's...
Right. Do you know what Beverly Hills did?
Yeah, did Beverly Hills do bad?
I doubt it. I don't think so. It's because it's a weird time because it's earlier, because usually they were in the later time slot, but Miami was filling that because they were filling it out. But Miami's done next week, so maybe they'll change up times. But I just think Stassi's not using this platform to the best of her ability.
Right. She's not being as proactive enough. And if you do look at her articles, they are good. I mean, she writes well and she takes
has
cute
good
pictures.
taste,
Yeah,
yeah.
she does. Like, she could for sure, if she's already working for free, she should be contacting like all these different publications and be like, hey, like, this is a sample article. Like, can I send it? What do you think about it?
And
you
it'd
know?
be really cool, like, for In Style Magazine or Us Weekly or
Totally.
whatever, OK Magazine, because I know they have a really good relationship with OK Magazine. And why doesn't she be like, I'll do, like, a reality fashion article where I'll, like, interview a reality person or something. And she could do that for free. That's amazing, but where is that?
Maybe she's just not very ambitious. Like, maybe she's just happy with where she is on reality TV, and that's all she's focused on. You know?
Yeah, they're not
Maybe
focused on the
she's-
end game. They're
yeah,
focused on, like, what's
yeah.
now.
And I mean, no shade to her dad, but he also, I thought that last week he focused a lot on her being with a man
married.
that could
Definitely.
provide for her. And so maybe that's, I mean, she's from Louisiana. That's kind of the MO
old
down
school
there.
kind of
yeah,
like,
like, you know, you get married to someone with coins and you
And
stay
they
at
take
home.
care of you.
So maybe that's what she's all about. Maybe that's why she's going to try to go back to Frank.
And if she wants that, if she wants that, awesome.
Then
Like,
Jax
that's
is not the
that's her
one.
life. Like, do your life. And then we see, moving on with
your
Jack,
life.
like Jax trying to get her back, but he goes to the tattoo parlor and wants to get his tribal tattoo fixed because Stassi hates it. I was just like, this is not your girlfriend right now. Like, this, do this for you. For a 33-year-old, he is really dumb. Like, he doesn't think about anything but
So dumb.
this girl. I'm just like, what? It just doesn't make sense to me. Like, I don't understand someone being that whipped and that deluded by somebody. Like, I don't get that.
Well, what's the funniest thing is, and Stassi says this later, like, okay, you moved into a studio apartment and you covered your tattoo, but like, you still haven't proven to me that you're faithful or honest or like that you're trying to make a new career for yourself. So it's like all really shallow things that he's changing about himself for her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just don't think
With
that he's.
flowers
I just don't think that
and
he's
cursive
the
words.
smartest shade of blue. Like, I just don't think he is.
Not the
The
sharpest
brightest,
tool.
the brightest shade of blue.
The smartest shade of blue. I'll go with that. It's the new term. I coined it. All right, go ahead.
Just why a koi fish? Like, out of anything you could cover up, you know, like koi fish. I just still don't get it.
Like, what? Like, get something that means something to you, not just like, I like a koi fish. Like,
Right.
He
doesn't make
had
sense.
like literally a swish on his arm, okay? Obviously, he's not the deepest man where like he's now striving for some meaning on his body.
And then what do you think about him getting Stassi's name tattooed on his bicep? Like that's
Is that real? Is that like a real tattoo?
I think
Yeah.
it's not going to be real.
I don't think it's gonna be real. There's
I hope
no
it's
way.
not real.
it was like that was the pin, like that was the needle going into
Maybe
his
it was
arm.
semi-permanent ink.
It could have been
something.
henna or whatever. I don't know what about tattoos
There's
or whatever,
no
but
way that
I hope not.
That he's
I hope
that
not.
dumb.
But maybe.
But maybe.
But maybe that's the good
I
question.
mean, I will say I didn't hate the tattoo. Like it wasn't like a preschooler like, oh look, mom, I can write my
Stassi,
name
yeah.
in cursive, S-T-A. I mean, the cursive looked nice and like fluid, and it looked good when it was on his arm. No, I'm the only person.
I
That,
actually couldn't even read it as Stassi.
It looked. I mean,
Yeah,
it was
so that-
nice
yeah,
cursive
it was
letters.
nice. I
looked
liked it.
good.
I think that it was so kind of like scribbled that I couldn't even tell that it said Saucy. So hey, if you guys don't make it,
He
you
could
could
be
have
like,
some like artistic.
It says Vanderpump Rules.
Yeah.
yeah, Lisa wrote it on my
Imagine.
arm. Like, yeah, whatever. So moving on, we see Sheena working at the front desk or the hosting stand at the restaurant, and Stassi wants to come up and talk to her, and Stassi's like, "You're trying to steal my life, and you're ruining my relationship with Lisa." Blah 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 blah. It's just like, and then we see them go on to another time, and Sheena's sitting at the front of the restaurant with her foot on the pillow. What did you think about that?
Why would she do that?
Why even come into work? Why would Lisa want to have someone sit out front with their foot propped on a pillow? Like, oh yeah, 2, we'll take you right now.
Like, that is so uninviting. Bare toes, like, as soon as you walk into a restaurant, like, not for nothing. Who's the management behind that?
It's ridiculous. Like, and I know, and, Sir, and
Really?
I don't even think Sir is open during the day though. So who are these people walking in? Like, I don't know.
private party,
I guess.
I still can't get over
bare
Kristen.
toes.
That is so uninviting. Bare toes.
Seriously, though. I'd be like,
No, I
ew.
agree. I
Not
agree.
hungry anymore.
I know.
I
so
just think
nasty.
again it ties back into what we were speaking about earlier. It's just a little bit damsel in distress like if your foot is
Like-
injured and you can't serve, that's fine. But if you have to have your foot propped up, then maybe it's just best you stay at home. But if you can manage to do it, with your foot just
Seriously.
maybe like in a boot or something,
Or like
but
cross
just
your
down on
legs
the
so it's away from the people so they can't see it.
Don't prop it up.
I don't know.
Close your legs.
Close your legs when you're at work.
And I feel like it was a production thing. Like I feel like she was forced to be there. I don't know. It was just like
Probably.
I was like, I feel like Sheena, I would hope she would have more sense than to sit at the front of a restaurant with like, oh, that's my foot. Like, don't worry about it, you guys. Take a seat. Like, just take a seat. Like, this, I know that we've been to Sir. Like, they don't just let you seat yourself. Mm-hmm. So,
Well, what I don't get with
Right. So
Yeah.
she's like,
you guys, great. Have fun. Like, take a drink.
this is the funniest scene. Like, ooh, these producers are ridiculous.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Why don't the producers think about? I mean, I get it that they're trying to have this dramatic situation where Stassi storms up and Sheena can't get off of her foot to go argue with her,
To fight with her.
But why don't they think it through and realize that the audience is not going to buy,
It's like-
situations that are so contrived like this.
When reality whenever the Hills and Laguna Beach was like the popular thing, that was like the first time reality shows were like kind of in the forefront. And the real world.
The Real World.
The real world, of course. But this, like, I feel like the customer is so savvy. Like, we know whenever
What to
it's
look
bad.
Yes.
Which I think I think this is gonna hurt this show. Like, I don't know if there'll be a third season of this show. Because I think that this is poor editing and poor placement of these characters. Like, that whole conversation with Tom and Lisa. Like, I love Tom, but that was very, very contrived and very, very, very fake.
I mean,
And
like, when
an
Shayna
interview-
walked by.
Yeah, and then whenever Sheena walked by and, like, they were, just talking, happened to
And
be
then the
talking right
whole,
there.
I mean, which we'll get to that, I'm sure, but the whole Stassi and Jax, like, dinner/car breakup
God.
scene.
Let's get into that. That's what's moving now.
Wait,
I mean-
can we not talk about the best quote of the entire episode? Oh man, my Dolce & Gabbana custom shirt done. Jax is the biggest tool. I'm sorry. Like, I can't. For the amount of times he like takes off his shirt and puts it back on in an episode.
It's like he's trying to make that his like brand, I feel like. without knowing that he's trying to make that his brand.
All right, now you can get into their date, but like I just wanted everyone to know, in case you missed that part, he did announce that his Dolce & Gabbana custom shirt was ruined because of his brand new tattoo.
If your Dolce & Gabbana custom shirt was ruined while you were watching the episode, you can head to
iTunes.
iTunes. Yes, Michelle, go ahead.
Oh, sure. Okay, head over to iTunes. Tell us what you think about this episode of Vanderpump Rules. Comment, rate our after show. Give us 5 stars, please. And yeah,
just
I mean, do you think there's going to be
like,
a 3rd season? Are you liking what you're seeing? Do you think that the production is doing too much? We want to hear your opinion. Your thoughts make our after show better, and then we make a better after show for you.
Oh,
Thanks.
thank you. That was sweet. I like that.
Nicely put.
So we see Stassia and Jax go on their date, and let's get into this because I do like that Stassia was upfront with him, and she was like, I don't love you, and I want you to move on. And he asked her straight up, he was like, do you want me to move on? Yes, move on. But then it's just strange because I don't get them. Like, I feel bad for Jackson in a sense because I'm like, she shouldn't put him through the ringer like this. He did cheat on her. I will say that, and that's shitty. Like, he got someone else pregnant. Like, that's even worse. Like, even worse than cheating on somebody. But I just don't think that she should put him through that. Like, if you don't care about him and you want to be done, just let him go and be like, let him do his own thing.
But I mean, don't you think it would be equally as harsh if she rejects him and doesn't give him dates when he's like begging and texting and
That's
calling?
what she should do. That's what I'm saying she should do.
That's more
like,
straightforward.
Don't lead him on. Like, she's leading him on purposely so she can be like, I don't want you. Like, that's what she's doing.
And then fake cry.
Yeah, I
And
was
be
like,
I need to go outside.
Just one tear. I was like, I know you can squeeze out one. Just squeeze, child. Like, squeeze.
I mean, I kind of agree with what you're saying, but at the same time, I think that so many guys disproportionately screw over women in this world that whenever I see a woman that kind of hurts a guy's feeling, it empowers me, even though I'm not the one that's doing it, but it empowers me. And I mean, at the end of the day, he did cheat on her first. And it's like she cried last season, like genuine tears too, last season.
Like
and she had to
heartbroken.
deal with that. So even if he is getting his feelings hurt now, like you should have thought about that. You should have kept your legs closed in Vegas.
I mean, I like that you said that too, because it's so, I think, it's like that double standard with men and women. Like, that's really smart. I like that.
I think also, you know, he brought up Frank so many times. It was like, well, yeah, like you F Frank the day afterwards. Like,
But
how
not
did no one talk about Laura Lee? Like, not for nothing, if he was so in love with her, he was very quick to run off with another server at SIR too. So I don't really feel that bad for him.
And to prance Laura Lee in front of her face too.
Right?
Which is the ultimate worst and so just juvenile and disrespectful.
And like talk about like, oh, how they like were hooking up in all these different restaurant bathrooms and this and that. Like, it's just so tacky that I feel like, and I think that she kind of is obviously still attracted to him and did enjoy his time. Like, why would you bring him back to talk with her father? That she like could milk him a little bit more, in my opinion.
And like make it even worse.
Yeah, I mean, like screw
Like
him.
really throw him under the bus.
I mean, I think it's stupid if she really doesn't want to be with him, but I think that if she like kind of does, he still does have a lot of proving to do.
Have fun with Mr. Wrong till you find Mr. Right.
Exactly.
I mean, I don't think Jax is Mr. Right for her, but if he's going to be around and...
Then just play with him a little bit.
Yeah.
How many girls do you think Jax has screwed over in his life?
Tons.
I mean, probably every single one.
Including Stassi, so...
Yeah, probably every single one.
Yeah, so now he gets a dose of his own medicine, and she might as well reap the benefits of it.
And I
Free
think she's the first one that's rejected him too, probably.
Mm-hmm.
And he's always been the one that's probably like led these girls on and then cut it off and then that's it.
And you know what? We might be crazy, and their relationship off camera might be totally different.
Yeah,
Right.
So we could just,
I mean, you never-
they probably are like engaged right
Good
now,
call.
and we just
But we're talking about what we see on
Yeah.
this show.
Right.
Yeah, and that's what we see.
I felt bad when she said, no, move on. All I thought of was like, keep your shirt on. Like, do not show her your arm. Because her name is on it.
But then we see next week that they freaking like make out, and that's shitty to me. Like, don't tell him to move on and that you want to be with Frank and stuff, and then come back with him. Like, that's...
But what if he asked her for the kiss? Like, if she had said move on and then she went up to him and tried to kiss him, now that's a little shady, I think. But if he's, like, in her face, then I think it's his fault for just being... like, I've had guys do that to me before where I tell them, you know, I just want to be friends, and they repeatedly ask me on dates, and, like...
You're like, you don't get it.
I'm like, you don't get it. Like, you're subjecting yourself to this torture. I said no, so just keep it moving.
Okay.
So I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Let's
No, I like that.
I just want Jax to like get it. I don't know. Like, I'm not
like
Jax.
get it or like get it.
I think she
Get it.
would
Like, get it.
Agreed.
So let's
Agreed.
move into some predictions.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
So Michelle, are you predicting that Stassia hits Jax in the face? Because we see that slap that happens, slap out her around the world.
I think that they have a tumultuous relationship, but I don't think it's physical. Actually, she admitted that it's physical before, didn't she, last season?
Yeah.
Just kidding. I think she probably hits a girl in the face if I had to.
Yeah. Any predictions from you, Kristina?
I predict Jax's new girlfriend does not want to date a guy with a girl's name tattooed on his arm, so he has to go get that covered up as well.
But at least it's small, so you can get it easily removed.
He can get a whole sleeve and just integrate it
that.
into whatever else.
Another koi fish. It
Yeah.
could be a pond.
A pond.
On his arm.
Have some lily pads on there, damn it. What about you? Any predictions for
I
us?
don't think Stassi and Sheena are gonna rekindle their friendship. I think that they're gonna be clashing this whole season.
I feel like Sheena has like run out of friends. I mean, we know Ariana's coming on the show, but it's like, where's like her friends within Sir? Like, I feel like there's nobody for her really. It's sad.
Lisa.
Lisa.
That's right.
But then,
Pandora.
on Watch What Happens Live, Lisa, someone called in and asked, who's your favorite out of Stassi and Sheena? And guess who she said? Stassi.
Did she?
Ooh.
Shay.
Burn. Really?
Really?
Why not just not answer that question?
Yeah. She was like, she did this whole like faux, like, oh, I don't know, Stassi, I don't know. And then I was just like, but you said a name. You said a name. And I was like, I wonder how, I guarantee you Sheena was pissed.
Freaking out. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fucked up.
What's
She
your
is
prediction,
pissed.
Christina? Do you have any predictions?
Yeah.
I said my prediction is because I know Jax has a new
Oh,
girlfriend.
you already did yours. So
I see him walking around the Grove.
Oh, he has a new girlfriend?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if they're
They're
like
all
girlfriend,
the week,
boyfriend,
like-
but like, he has someone on his arm. Let's just say that.
He's
Is
never
she
alone.
hotter than Stassi?
I don't care. I don't get up that close. Just kidding.
If you
She's
want to
cute.
get up and close and personal with us, come back next week. We'll be here next Tuesday with Kristen Doty and Tom Sandoval. So stay with us, stay with us, stay with us. You can find me on Twitter at Jake_Dupree and on Instagram at Facebook at Jake Dupree.
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Miss Zias.
You can find me on Twitter at Sabrina P. Walker.
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Michelle Renee LA.
We'll see you next week.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.